Mayong hapon sa tanan. Good afternoon. Ako gali si Ralyn and we are now in our Plantita time part 2. So right now, pagka-istoryahan naton some of my indoor plants that are located sa akon nga sala or living room. So to give you a background, I currently reside in a condo unit. I don't have a balcony, but I do have a lot of plants, and some of my plants are in living room, in my bedroom, toilet, kitchen, and also in our dining area. So I have 3 plants here with me that I wanted to share with you to give you a background of what they are, and if possible nga ara man siya sa inyong mga places, you can actually consider of putting it inside your house. So ang akong gali nga first istoryahan is this plant which I have here. This is called Peperomia argyronoira, or better yet known as nerve plant. So ginatawag siya nga nerve plant because sang iya nga character or texture sang iya nga leaves, though nervine siya. And petunias by natures are perennial foliages or perennial shrubs. Nag-grow sila in tropical areas, and the good thing about them is they actually easily grow and increase the number of leaves that they have. The kind of petunias differ in the colors that they showcase. So there are different kinds of petunias according to their colors. They have green and pink, white and green, and also the other one is red and green. In my case, my petunia or nerve plant is providing the white and green colors. These little beauty are very much appreciated in dish gardens like this that I have. Some by terrariums, others are in hanging baskets, or even in ground soil when the right temperature is provided. Makita nyo man ni siya in some of the subdivisions or real property developers. They use petunia to plant or to do landscapes because it's really good, like a grass cover on the places. So you can see that petunias are good complement when you are doing landscape or gardening. For my end, I like petunias because they're very shrubby, and the perfect place for them to put is either in your computer table, study table, or in my case, I put them as my center table or coffee table. How do I keep my petunias or petunias? So we will start with watering. You have to keep petunias with moderate water only, and sometimes you can spray water on top to keep it moist. I do this not often, maybe on a weekend. I will just spray water on top to keep it moist. And the next thing you can do is to do pruning. So when you do pruning, you just find the dyed leaves in them and you cut them next to the stem nga may ara sila. So in my case, wala gawa, and then you cut it like that. But right now, my petunia is very healthy. I don't have much to prune for the leaves. So I hope that when you do, you just be very careful with their leaves. That's what I think. If you have this kind of plants and you have some questions, you can message me and ask me some questions, or if you have some tips as well, you can share it with me. How to keep this according to their light. Petunias are good to be kept or to be in medium light to bright light, but not direct light. I guess it's from 4 to 6 hours. And in my case, I put it in my center table. My living room has a wide range of light, and it's near to the blue sky. Lapit siya sa window, so I don't have any problem with this. To make the propagation with these kinds of petunias, they say that you can propagate this by water or by soil, but I haven't done that. I tried before, and that was during division or separation of roots. So these petunias grow in shrubs, and shrubs have different kinds of roots, so you separate them. And I've read that you can put it in water and let it propagate, but I didn't have any experience from that time yet. So I suggest, or I advise, for divisions or propagations of petunias, you start with division or separation of roots, and then you plant it in mini pocket as well. So I hope you will. The good thing also of petunias, they complement different kinds of plants. So say for example in this garden, hindi sila dalok sa nutrients, but they actually complement each other. So you can put some succulents, petunias, or some other kinds of foliage, and they also look good on their own. So this is Petunia argyroneura, or also known as nerve plant. Next that we have is called Peperomia. And this is Peperomia. So Peperomia is something like, I don't know how to describe. It looks like, actually it's also a kind of perennial foliage or shrubs, but it is more likely having the characteristics of a succulent. So succulents doesn't need more water, but that kind of characteristic is with this Peperomia. And direct light kills it, and no light also is not good for this kind of plant. So for me, how I take care of this is I don't water it too much. I let the top soil dry a bit, because it's a bit, it's actually bigger. I mean, the height of my vase is tall, so I know that there is a water supply at the very end. And when I planted this Peperomia, I know that the roots are just half of it. So I know that the soil, 50% of the soil at the bottom is properly moist. So I don't usually water this. I keep this Peperomia to have a dry topsoil, and then I also do spray them just to keep the moist on top, but not so often. I mean, this is one of the easiest plant I ever had, and it just grows on its own. To prune, you can either cut their leaves. If you want to have a bushy part, you can cut it and direct it. For me, I really like when it's veins or vines rather are growing. And you can see sometime that they will have this. And I don't usually touch it. I'll just pick it up and clean them once in a while. In terms of fertilizers, I don't put fertilizers on my plants. I just give them my tender, loving care. And of course, they choose the kind of music that I play. I really think that plants grow, or music helps plants to be in good mood. Not everyone know, but plants also have their own stress level. To name a few, ferns, fiddle leaf fig trees, and succulents actually are drawn to music and by moving them. So I noticed that if I keep on moving my fiddle leaf fig tree and also my ferns, they tend to fall off some of the leaves, and I was a bit frustrated why. And I read that a fiddle leaf fig tree are, by its nature or character, is a tree, and they don't want to be moved here and there. So they like to be in a specific area, and it takes them some time to adjust. So once they adjust, then they will stop falling off those leaves and they just grow on its own. Same goes with my ferns. I put my fern in a specific place in our house, and I figure out that the leaves are drying off, and I was a bit frustrated, and I put them on our other toilet where there is a low light, and I try to spray them, and I realized that they are growing like good and they're recovering. So they look empty right now, but I know that they are recovering. One thing that plants taught me is that yes, they are indoor plants, but when you come to think about it, they actually grow in jungles. They cover or make our rainforest. I was imagining, or I was realizing, fiddle leaf fig tree and ferns, so they are in the innermost part of the rainforest, and in that place is very cold, and they need spontaneous watering or mist, and because that's the kind of plant and trees they are, so I guess if we put them inside our indoor house, we have to take note of that as well. So I realized that I need to put my ferns in low light, and as much as possible I want to showcase them in my sala or in my living room. I can't because they will definitely dry. Next plants that I wanted to have would be caladium and anthurium. If someone is watching here in Malaysia, I would really want to have that. To complement my monsteras and my alocasias as well. But for now, I will just discuss with you these three parts. So this once again is called Peperomia. Its English name is Peperomia parallel or parallel Peperomia. I don't know why. I guess it's because of the leaves that they have. It looks like parallel, or how they grow. So be careful, guys, where you put this plant. Too much light and it will kill them. No light and it will rot their roots. Don't overwater, and underwatering this plant is totally fine. Totally fine. And I hope that it can actually complement, or when you have this kind of plants, it's like once they settle on their place, then it will grow on their own. So that's the second plant. And now I'm gonna talk to you about my big plant, and this is called Dracaena. Dracaena Cornstalk are plants that are present in tropical areas such as Southeast Asia, and they are also originated from Africa. This is a flowering plant, and the color of the flower is white. It perfectly fits both indoor and outdoor, and they need water, but the leaves also needs to be moist. So once in a while, what I do, I would clean the leaves, and I just cleaned the leaves yesterday, but just like monsteras and other big leaf plants, I would clean them to take away the dust and to improve their photosynthesis. So I will just, sometimes I use water, or I use water and a tablespoon of milk, and then I spray them, but not usually. And I will just clean them and wipe them, and then leave it like that. So once in a while, I would spray them because they need bright light, and they really grow into that. So you have to take note that apart from the roots, they need moist all over them. So I spray them and let it like that. To take note, Dracaena, or this cornstalk Dracaena, is toxic to animals, specifically to cats and dogs. And other toxic plants, or other plants that have toxics, are your ivy. You have to take note of that. Your ivy, Dracaena, your snake plant, and your ZZ plant. So these plants are toxic and dangerous to your cats and animals, or dogs. If you have pets inside your house, I would suggest to keep them in a place that they will not be near them. So I put them at the back of my sofa, wherein you cannot just go there right away. It's just perfectly sitting or standing there next to our window, which has direct access to bright light. And I don't have any pets, but I just wanted to let you know that that's very dangerous to them. ZZ plant and snake plants, they how the cats or the dogs get poison is when they dig the soil next to them, and the sap on it produces a poisonous liquid. And for ivy, you have to take care that when you wash them with running water. When you are cutting these ivies and you want to propagate them, you have to make sure that you are washing them in a running water, because the water will be contaminated, and we don't know if that's gonna be poison, but definitely yes. So that's what I wanted to say. Speaking of this flower, or this plant, this cornstalk Dracaena has or sometimes produces flower, and it's color white, and it's very fragrant. So there is another version or another kind of Dracaena, which is called Dracaena fragrans, and it got its name because of the flower that it has, which is very fragrant, and it can last from 1 month. So this is just one variety of Dracaena, and I guess that's the 3 plants that I wanted to share with you guys. The Peperomia, this one, which is very nice and very beautiful to put into your coffee table, into your bookshelves, and also the petunias or the nerve plants. So I don't think it fits. Let's try. I hope it doesn't break. So if you have any more plants that you think you would want me to explore, if you know anything about nerve plants, cornstalk, Dracaena, or about Peperomia that you wanted to share with me, I would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions about petunias, perennial foliage, or other perennial shrubs that you might consider apart from these two, then you just let me know. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys who are watching, and I just wanted to share that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Goodbye!